Guten Tag, I'm Mr. Orange and welcome back to my journey through locks and lockpicking. Today we take a look at a very special topic of lockpicking, and this is taking apart locks or gutting locks that have crimped rings or core retainer, plug retainer rings, whatever you say. The problem here is normally you cannot easily take them apart without cutting the double Euro cylinder in two halves, and then with a special method you can get them off. We take a look at this later. Or to damage the ring or make it a bit of an open C-ring which you can pry off. There are other ways to retain a lock. We take a look at this here. This is just a normal E-clip, C-clip version here, the silver one, which mostly is steel or something, which is in my opinion the best and easiest way most of the time to retain a lock or a plug, because they are not that easy to destroy or to break or to damage, and I like this version the most. And there's also another version of it, more like an E-clip version. It's kind of the same thing. But as I mentioned, we have the crimped rings, and especially here in Germany or in Europe, we have, or I encountered this on Wilka locks, and I have encountered this, also on a CES lock. We take a look at this right after this. But there are some methods you can do to get this ring off. So the first stage I did was to drill a hole. This was also a crimped ring. You see this here. There's the little notch where the ring, the focus doesn't focus it, but you see the little notch where the ring gets cramped into. And my first method always was, without destroying the lock or cutting the lock itself, was just to drill a little hole into the ring and then pry it open, then cut a bit of the material off so it gets more to an brass C-ring. So I took, like, I don't want to do, but just demonstrate it now. I took a Dremel and just with a very small diameter drill, I just got into a bit of the ring and then I could pop it open. But the problem here is that, since mostly you only have the notch here which retains the core, it's hard to get the ring back in there and to retain it. So it's not the best option. So I was looking for another option. And someone mentioned, there is like an option where you can keep the structure of the ring and do kind of a 90-degree turn. So that is an example for that, but it was mentioned in the LPU Discord in the German channel that you have to cut the lock apart. So that's what I did here. I cut the lock apart, and as you see, that's a crimped ring, and it is in its notches, but it's still fully intact. So the 90-degree method is just, you take the best way is like this kind of pliers. You take it, go like, if you have it apart, you have easy access on it. You go there, see if it's aligned with the ring, press it down. So you see on the side now, the ring has left kind of the notch, and then you just put a bit pressure on it and turn it 90 degrees so the crimped part gets out of the notch, and then you can, most of the time, you can kind of easily get the ring off. So now it's struggling. Okay, we got it off and we see the ring here. It's fully intact. It has it kind of the straight sections here, which are the crimped sections, and that's how you do that. So, and I was wondering, I don't want to take all of my locks apart. So just put that back here on, and it's the same thing the other way around. 90 degrees in the other direction. So, and cramp it back into place. And I highly recommend getting one or building one of your own of these pliers. These are very, very helpful on many methods. So this is kind of a misuse of the pliers. So we got it back on. Yeah, and I was asking myself how to get it done with a W cylinder. I do not have to cut because I just want to keep it together. And I managed that. That is an example here. And we see here the rings are the cramped rings. No, they're cramped on. They're a bit used already because I I practiced on that lock how to open, how to get it cramped. But you see maybe here a bit, the ring is in its notch. Yeah, and it's the same method actually with the 90-degree turn, but with a bit of a twist, because as we have seen here on the first lock I have shown, this has not been touched yet. That is what we'll do afterwards. You have the cam in the way, and sometimes the cam is freely turning. Then that's really cool. I like that because you have to get the pliers kind of off the notch, 90 degrees in there like this, and then put a lot off camera, sorry, so like this, and then put a lot of pressure. But we have the cam down here, the nose of the cam is in the way. So if you have a freely turning cam, that's fine because it can turn and you can put your pliers in. But like this, you have not a freely turning cam, and what you have to do is just, if you have a key or you pick it, put the key inside and turn the key a bit. And now you see the cam has been turned out of the way, and the other ring here on the left side is still on this position. So you have the 90-degree position which you can use, and we can use it on the other way. The best way is if you have two keys at least for each side, because if you gut it afterwards, you can do it properly without sacrificing one side. I would say not really sacrificing, but just pull one side by risking a damage and then reconstructing one side after the other side has been gutted professionally, I would say. So that is something I had to do here, but yeah, sometimes, no, I didn't have to because I had two rings. I could use my segmented followers. I don't have them here right now, I guess. No, they're not here. And then just do the normal gutting. So that is how it works. And now we will do the live demo. I'm getting a bit of dirt on my gloves. A live demo on this one. Here the problem is I will not gut it in this video. I will just show how to get these rings off and get the cam out. So the best way is actually to research the lock before you get on it. How is it built? How's the core? Where are maybe traps when I pull the plug or something? Where are they? And just research them. The problem with this lock, I don't actually know what kind of lock this is. It's a very old one. I was sent but with an order that was just put into, and I only have one key. I guess it's in Wilka standard 6-pin or maybe in Wilka 1400, something like that. So, and maybe sometimes you can just see what the cam or the mechanic of the cam is like, because sometimes it can get really tricky to get the cam out. So what's the goal here? The goal is to get the plug out, and then I have to do the unprofessional way because I have only one key. The plug out without destroying or cutting or drilling the retainer ring. And we use the key, as I said before, to turn the cam a bit and just start with the left side. So I turn it like this so I get access to the part. And one word to these pliers, they have this kind of ridge here, I don't know what it's called, but that's where you cramp the normal C-rings together so they get back onto the cylinder. And we use it a different way. So what we do is get this right on this ring here, and we have to watch out that it's directly on it. So that's it. And now we have to take a lot of force to hold it and then turn it 90 degrees. And sometimes it takes a bit more, sometimes it takes a bit less tries. But the hard part is that the pliers need to get a grip of the ring. And you see sometimes that's very hard. Okay, it's slipped now, and you see, of course, there's a bit of wear and tear on the ring itself. That's unfortunately not to avoid, but it should now be free. You see, because of the turning, because it gets forced out of the notch, it is deforming into a normal ring shape, I would say. So we did it on one side, and now we do it on the other. Here we have to watch out not to pull the plug too early. So we do the same thing here. Get these pliers on. Yep, they're on. A lot of pressure and turning with a lot of force. Okay, let's do it another try. Sorry if my sounds, but it is, you need really force because you have to deform that brass metal here. But it looks like that should be it. The best way to see is if the ring, maybe the ring itself turns freely when you turn the plug, but sometimes the tolerances are very, very narrow. So now we try to do it now the unprofessional way. I assume that on the side there's nothing where a pin, or maybe like the 11 o'clock position, that's what I like, when in the European bottom of the keyway, or the top of the keyway, is on the 11 o'clock position. And then I try to pull, and we see there's a little bit of movement. So what we could do now is going for gutting and pull it all out, or first try just to pull a bit so the ring gets freed. So I take another tool, like just a C-clip, and see if we already can. No. The problem here is the mechanic inside the cam is in the way. So I will do the, I don't like to do it, but the explosion, I would say. I just pull the whole plug now and reconstruct it from the other. Okay, this could be actually a Wilka 1400. Oh, nice pin. I have never seen that lock. Could be dirty as well. Oh, interesting pins. And you see there's a lot of debris coming out. And now, where are my tweezers? I'm not really prepared. Taking all these springs out. Get them out of the way. Very interesting pins. I've never seen them. Okay. Sometimes very cool to see. Yeah, now we got it otherwise. So we can look and take a look inside, and now we see, yeah, that's the cam mechanic in here. And still we don't have the ring freed, and we need to get the mechanic out. What I tried now is just push it from the other side. So as you see, I have not touched this lock and doesn't seem to grip the mechanic. Actually, I cannot get my lock fully, my key fully inside. That is not cool. But we need to get this plug from the mechanic here inside if we can. Yeah, try to figure out how to get it. So that's the problem with most of the locks, and if we are unlucky, it is retained totally by the ring still. But somehow the rings did move. Ah, you see. Ah, there's the ring. And we have freed at least the first ring. Put it aside. And now what we can do is, with a lot of caution, try to get, yeah, that's not a lot of caution, but now the key is not going fully in because the cam mechanic is now blocking somehow. We have kind of jammed that, but I guess there's a way to free it somehow. Yep. Okay, I think it will fast forward from here on. Okay, we managed to get it free, and so we can turn the plug. Now it will just slowly pull on it. Sometimes it's still not free enough from the key ring, so we have to, yeah, I cannot get it out. So we have just to redo our method a bit. So we have to get to grab the ring, not the cam. Yep, that's not working here. Yeah, but the ring seems free. Turns easily. Yeah, now we get a bit of movement of the core. Yep, there it is. Okay, I don't want to pull it out fully. I just, yeah, exactly. I just wanted to pull it out so the cam and the ring gets free. So, and that's, guys, that's it, how you get these rings off without cutting or cutting the key, the lock itself, or drilling or cutting the rings. Now you can do the stuff with 2 keys. It is way easier or way more clean because you can do not this here. I have to rebuild it now. But yeah, that's how we do it. I hope this helps you to understand and maybe not to destroy locks if you don't want to. All right, I would really appreciate it if you leave a like, a comment, or a sub. And otherwise, we see us in the next video. Auf Wiedersehen.